Is there anyone who isn't allowed to come to your house anymore, and if so, what did they do to deserve banishment? I was at a kid's house and he got mad at me because I didn't like an anime that he was obsessed about. I was by the hallway and turned left and he was aiming a literal gun at me. I told his mom he got the gun and he ran to put it back. Crazy though. My now former sister-in-law. 6 hours after bringing my newborn home from the hospital, she told me and my entire family that she would call CPS and report me if I breastfed for longer than 6 months. I nursed for nearly 2 years, but she never knew because she wasn't allowed anywhere near us. Nico. At a party he tried to fuck a girl that was pass out drunk. He's dead now, but before that my cousin was banned from my house because he used to steal shit from my place. Once he even stole my amp out of my old Camaro when I was inside and had no idea he had come by with tools. Something extra fucked up about a friend or relative stealing from you instead of a stranger. Tony clogged the toilet and then dug his own shit out and put it in the litter box. Tried to blame it on the cat. When I was a kid, a friend I once had stole hot sauce from my fridge with me and my parents watching him. Although we thought it was weird, we let it go. The next week he stole my favorite watch. I didn't notice at first, but a few days later I wanted to try it on and couldn't find it. I looked it over for a couple of weeks until I remembered the hot sauce incident and it clicked into my mind because besides from my parents, nobody but him entered in my room those days. Long story short, I came to his house and my watch was over his desk. I told him, "Dude, that's my watch." He said, "Yes, sorry about that," and gave it to me. He wasn't allowed inside my house anymore and I forgot about it. Years later he went to the same university I did and a friend of mine told me he was known for stealing female socks from the gym and hot sauce from the cafeteria. Definitely a weird person. 2 of my ex-friends had sex in my room. While I was in it. We were supposed to hang out, they came over early. I asked them to give me 10 minutes to finish up some important intense work. Looked up when I was done and she was giving him a blowjob on the opposite side of the room by the closed bedroom door. There's a reason why we're ex-friends. My older brother. Dude was an alcoholic mess. My child's friend. She broke our Millennium Falcon Lego even though the room was out of bounds to everyone's smiling face with tear. Nothing crazy like these stories, but D&D player that whinged and argued with me, DM and host, too often and caused drama with other players. Decided it was up to me to solve the problem, so I banned him. Game improved immediately and my stress levels went down. My older brother. I love him, but he makes some of the worst decisions of anyone I've ever met. He also has no filter. It goes straight from his brain to his mouth. One day, while eating breakfast alone in the kitchen with my 10-year-old daughter, he told her he was depressed and wanted to kill himself. My friend that is no longer my friend. He had autism, but he constantly used it as an excuse to be a massive dick to everyone around him. In school I had tried to help him with everything I could as he had no friends other than me. I invited him into my friend group and my home. In class he would do no work and I ended up doing a lot of it for him because I wanted him to pass and have a good life. After a while he proved to me he wasn't an asshole but continued treating everyone like one. I tried so hard to help him but he didn't truly want to be helped. Kept saying he wanted to be liked and have friends, yet continued saying the racist C word repeatedly because he didn't care. If he thought he was in the right, he would not budge. One time he called two black people silly monkeys, and once they kindly told him that it made them uncomfortable. Instead of apologizing and moving on with his life, he refused and kept insisting that he didn't mean it like that, in a rude way, not a "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that." He would rather buy you something to apologize than to just say the words "I'm sorry." This type of thing happened on multiple occasions. He would say something that would make us uncomfortable and would just say it was our problem. Example, my nan had just passed away from cancer and he decided to joke about it. TLDR, someone I used to be friends with was a total asshole and refused to ever apologize for anything. Made a joke relating to my recently passed nanny. A few years ago I had a friend called Josh who came to my house one day because he wanted some Pokemon cards. I had lots of spares, so I gave him a fair amount of them before we went downstairs to plat on my Xbox. After finishing the game, he said he needed to go to the toilet upstairs before he left, so he went to the toilet before going home. I went back upstairs to check my binders full of my rare cards and put them away, but I realized he stole them. Well, more specifically, he sifted through them and took X's, GXS, and even a gold secret rare. The next day, after asking him about it, he literally handed back most of my cards, claiming he had accidentally taken them. I'm still missing a Charizard X that he stole and he was never allowed back. One guy I knew is not allowed in my home. He crossed some boundaries with another friend in their home, and I told my partner that he was, under no circumstances, allowed in our apartment, ever. I don't have contact with this douche anymore, but the ban is for life. Dude is not right in the head. D&D players with a bad attitude. Most of my husband's family. They were bitches to me for years and stomped boundaries. My dad. Insane, mean narcissist. One of my son's friends, because he did not follow any of our simple house rules like don't leave drinks on the floor so the dog will knock it over. Years ago, I had bumped into an old pal from high school who was still living at home in his 30s. It was his birthday in a few days, and he was down and out, so I invited him over to my place for a little impromptu birthday party. I called a few mutual friends to come over and we all had a good time. Late in the evening, after my old friend was drunk, it was his birthday party after all, people started leaving, and one couple decided they had drank too much and were going to crash at my place. We had a guest room, so it was cool. As everyone was getting ready to call it a night, my old pal, who was drunk and was supposed to crash on the couch, crept into my guest room and candidly asked my other friend and his wife if he could watch them have sex. He was turned down. He then came into my bedroom, and asked if he could watch me and my girlfriend, now my wife, have sex, at which point I lost my temper. He then spent about 45 minutes berating me, and telling me he wasn't afraid of me, while I just tried to get him to pass out on the couch and let the whole thing go. The next morning he was gone. He was never invited back. Months later, when my wife was changing the batteries in the remote for our TV, she found a tiny handwritten note inside the battery compartment of the remote. It was a brief apology for the inappropriate sexual advances by my old high school buddy. Fucking weird. I would very much like my Sil to not come over anymore. She was unreasonably angry that my boyfriend wasn't able to go fix her car for free an hour and a half away one weekend because we had an emergency with our daughter. The following weekend proceeded to harass us through a group chat and threatened to show up at our door and wait till we came outside to talk. Had a pity party until my boyfriend spoke to her to try to calm her down, and her response was, "Thanks, that's all I needed, I can't lose my family. The bitch is not welcome in my home, and if my boyfriend brings her along I will not be home and she will not be meeting my new baby anytime soon."